So, hello everybody. Lovely to see you here today and welcome to the webinar on Facebook advertising. It's about an hour today. It might possibly go over. We'll just sort of have to see how it goes. And then there's part two of this, which is the technical side, which is literally click here, and click here, which I'm going to get Dan to do. He will tape that and get that out to you quite shortly. So this is an hour and probably a bit overview on the concept of Facebook advertising. There will be some actions for you to take at the end of it to make it work for you. So I know it says that I'm Nikki, but I'm not, unfortunately. So let's just get going. Okay, so the agenda today is how to use Facebook to drive targeted prospects to your opt-in page. And I'm hoping to take the mystery out of Facebook today. It's like a little magic place where all these lovely adverts pop up into your newsfeed. I'm going to show you how you can actually get that working for you. And so you know exactly which elements to focus on to actually get the results that you're looking for. Facebook does give you so many options on how to spend money with them. When I first started looking at it and going in and creating my ads, it's a little bit daunting, but I'm going to walk you through literally the maze of ways that you can do it into the very best way that will help you. You can ignore most of the ways of spending your money on Facebook, and I'm going to show you exactly the right way to do it. So you're going to be able to create the best ads, get the best results for the best price, because we're doing pay-per-click, and the fastest way to do it. So that's basically what we're doing today. Now, if you do have any questions as we go along, please do type them into the question box that you can see there, and I'll endeavour to answer them as we go along. Okay. So the good news is you've already done most of the hard work that I actually had to put in when I first started putting my Facebook ads together. So let's have a look at the sales funnel that you're currently using. And I know the majority of you are using this. We've got several ways to find our candidates. Now we're going to concentrate on candidates today, although this does work for clients as well. We're going to go down the candidate route today. So when you do decide to get this up and running on the client side as well, you can use exactly the same techniques. The sales funnel that we're currently using is email marketing in a database. I know you guys are using that at the moment. You're also using LinkedIn or any other forms of social media. The bit that we're going to plug into it today is obviously the Facebook side. And it works exactly the same way. All of these things funnel into your ethical bribe, which is your opt-in page, or some people call it a sales page, which takes you through to a thank you page, into a strategy session, and then you should get new NPCs from this at the end of it. That's kind of the whole idea. The actual funnel, as I say, is exactly the same. So let's have a look at why Facebook is such a great source of leads. Unbelievably, over 1 billion users are on Facebook and counting, and that's just going up and up and up. Facebook users average 25 minutes per day on Facebook with it, which is an astonishing amount. And actually, if you have a think about email marketing, which I absolutely love, and I'm not saying don't do email marketing, but the open rates are actually going down on email marketing, and yet Facebook is going up. Interestingly, you can use Facebook as a channel to connect with people you already have on your email list. Now, you may say to me, why on earth would I want to spend money connecting with them on Facebook? But if you have a think about the way email works, I mean, especially Google accounts, which is one of the main sources of emails, people have got different folders, and often marketing material goes straight into a folder, and they very rarely actually look at it, or they might look at it very briefly. But if you're putting it in front of them in email and then actually popping it into their newsfeed so they're reading it on there, they're much more likely to pick it up and use it. You can target Facebook ads by demographics, geographically, and interests, which is just so fantastic. I'm going to use Louise actually here as an example. Louise, I know you're looking to get a new massive client on at the moment. You can actually target your audience that's going to see your Facebook ads by postcode, by age range, and by specific interests as well. So it will pop up in their news feeds, and you might be able to really target into getting the right type of people for that company, which will be amazing for you. So the targeting is absolutely phenomenal. So much better than any other targeting that's out there, actually. when we're talking about demographics, this is where your candidate avatar work that we've done already will come into its own. And, you know, we're talking about candidate interests, type of thing that they might like, where they might hang out, that type of thing. You can pop all this into Facebook and it will do a search for you on it. Interestingly as well, you can use Facebook as a channel to reach your existing email subscribers, which we talked about. Now, if you actually pop your email list into Facebook, which is a really simple process, you can use Facebook to make sure your ads get shown only to the people on your email list, which is cool, as they already know, like you, trust you, and they are so much more likely to click through. A really good example of this is a client that I'm currently working with, and actually Nikki is as well. And she was telling me the story of why she decided to go on to Nikki's leadership and management course. And she was lying in bed on a Sunday morning, and she'd had an email from Nikki previously. In fact, I think she'd had two, and she didn't do anything about it. And then it popped up in her newsfeed. Nikki's ad popped up into her newsfeed. And so she clicked through on it and clicked through to a strategy session, and that's how Nikki sold her in. So yeah, email works, but this is such a great way of actually landing those people. Another great thing is that you can create lookalike lists. So you can get new customers from lookalike lists as well, based on your current email subscriber list, which is very cool. So if you've got your, Kate, I believe you've got, you bought a email list, you can put that into Facebook. You can use that initially, which is where I think we should actually start. But then when you're happy with the ads that are working and you've targeted it well, you can create a lookalike list from that, which will have a look at the type of demographics that are in that current list and make a corresponding, it's like a mirror list of people that would probably be interested as well. So it's a very cool thing to use there. You can also target fans of your competitor pages. For example, the Adecos of the world, the Reeds of the world, if they're your competitors, you can target their fans. You can target your clients' fans, so pages that your clients have that your clients have got up there that your target candidates might have actually liked. Or their precise interests, if they're interested in one particular thing, or a couple of things that you know that several of your NPCs are interested in, you can target it by that as well, which is, again, very cool. Another really good thing about Facebook is that it's instant, and you can turn your ads on and off at will. So it's not like putting it out into into trade press or something, which takes weeks to put it in there. When it goes out, and that's it. You can't do anything about it. With this, you can tweak it as you go along. If your ads aren't working or you're not getting the type of response that you're looking for, you can pull it, you can stop it, you can change it, and you can put it back on again with the changes, which again is, I mean, it's astonishing what you can do with it. Okay, so I suggest where we're going to start is by targeting your email list and your current fans. When I say your email list, we can use your LinkedIn list if you want to. We can use your house list, so your warm list, anything that goes out on your autoresponder at the moment. This is a great list to use. If you've got a warm list, even better. Now, if you can't make your ads deliver return on investment from this audience, they definitely won't work for cold contacts. So this is a really good place to test it through and find out whether it's worth scaling up and going into cold contacts, into lookalike audiences and that type of thing. Not every single ad is going to work for you. The good thing is about Facebook is that you can test them out. There's going to be about 7 different variables that you can work with, and I'm going to show you how to do that. To really tweak it up and see what works. Lookalikes, you can start testing other interests, different pages, etc. What they might like and what they might be liking. So you're probably going to end up targeting and creating different ads for different audiences as well. It won't be just one ad that you're putting out there, let's put it that way. You'll probably come up with, I would say, 5, 6 or possibly 7 to 10 different ads. Now, once you've got one up, the rest are very easy because you can copy them through and just tweak them out. So don't worry about that too much. Okay, now, I've always struggled with advertising because if you think of advertising as a cost, it's very difficult to put your money in that place. But instead of thinking about it being a total cost, think of it about actually buying your candidates. What you're basically doing is going out, spending X amount of money on those pay-per-clicks and buying the right candidates in. So try and think about it a slightly different way. This isn't a cost, this is a way of buying something. Have a think about how much you can afford to acquire one candidate for your role. How much can you afford to spend on getting an NPC? So how much is an NPC actually worth to you? Is it £50? Is it £100? Perhaps the best way to think about it is how much filling that vacancy will be worth for you. So if you currently can't fill a vacancy, how much would it be worth buying a candidate for? So if the vacancy is worth, say, £5,000 on your margin, how much would you be willing to pay to buy your candidate? And that's totally your choice. On Facebook, we can generate around 10 times ROI what we spent on the advertising. So you should be comfortable spending possibly as much as £500 acquiring a candidate. So every £5 that you spend, you're going to make about £10 back, basically. This is key information to know how much you want to invest in when you're actually putting your Facebooks on there. So it's something you might want to start thinking about now. There are 4 variables that affect your Facebook advertising results. The first one is audience, which we've spoken about. The second one is placement. It's where that ad is going to end up in Facebook. So is it a news feed? Is it on people's mobile devices? Is it on the banner at the right-hand side? Or is it on all of them? Pricing is going to be important as well, as actually Facebook is auction-based. So you're going to be bidding for your ads, and you might be up against competitors bidding for the same type of audiences. So we will talk about that as we go through this, and actually it will be covered in the next set of training as well. Pricing is going to be pretty important, and actually I'm going to suggest that you spend as much as you can on your per clicks to get the right audience for you and to make sure that they're actually seeing the ads. If somebody else is bidding on that same audience, which they might be, and they bid more than you, their ads will go out there and your ones won't. So it's, as I say, it's an auction. The creative is the copy, the words, the headlines, the links, and the photo that you put on there, and is actually, really, really important that we get this right, and we can test it. As I say, we're not just putting one ad out there, we're going to put several ads out there and test which ones work the best. So let's start with those variables, and let's start with your audience. We can start with your current email subscribers. So this is the best way to target it, and I suggest we do it in this order. It makes the most sense. And you can test it really well, because if it's not working with your warm audience, the likelihood of it working with a cold audience is pretty slim. You can work it on current fans as well. The ads come from your Facebook page. So if you haven't currently got a Facebook page for your business, you need to get one up quick sharp. It's very easy to put that together. I know I've definitely seen Louisa's out there. It would be good to get that up and running quite quickly, because that's where the Facebook ads are going to come from. Now, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that you need to have 100 fans before you can put a Facebook ad out there. If that's the case, I suggest what you do is start asking people to like your page. Most of your friends will like it. Once you've got up to 100, then you can start doing your Facebook ads. You can do fans of other pages as well, which for me has worked really well. Have a think about other pages that your NPCs would be liking. Would it be local businesses that they'd be liking? Would it be other recruitment companies that they'd be liking? So have a look in on Facebook and maybe do some searches around and see what pages are out there. Put yourself in the shoes of your NPC. What would you be liking, and what pages would interest you? And then we can start creating an audience around those other pages as well. We're going to look at specific interests as well. This is a slightly more tricky, and we're going to be ending up with two groups of people, one which is the experimental side, and one which is the proven side. So experimental is an interest that you suspect might be a fit, i.e. people interested in recruitment for me, that would be, or recruitment software might be an audience for me. When it's proven, which is your second list, is when you know that they actually respond. So when you found an audience that respond to your adverts, you know it's proven, you can go to them again and again, and you can build up intelligences about these audiences. So you'll end up with two lists, experimental and proven, and over time you can ramp up and roll out your ads much quicker once you've got a proven audience that actually respond to your ads. And that's when things get quite exciting. I'm going to go into Facebook in a minute, actually, and have a look at some of the ads that are out there. But let's just have a look at placement. So there are several places where your ad will appear, and you can choose where to put it. So the first option that Facebook will give you is your desktop, which is down the right-hand side and in your news feed on the desktop. The second one is just in the feed, so it's where you see people putting their comments and their updates, and you'll get a sponsored ad in there, and that's on desktop and mobile. You've got a desktop feed, which is just to the desktop and it won't go to the mobile at all, or a mobile feed which just goes to your mobile and nowhere else. Then you've got the very last option, which is the right column on desktop computers. Facebook does actually change the look and appearance of the ad depending on where you show it. And the very best place that this works for me, and I believe Nikki as well, is on a desktop feed, which is your news feed on the desktop. Main reason being, I think, is probably because when we put the ethical bribe up, they're asked to click through. When they're asked to click through on their mobile, they go to the Woofu page to fill in, saying, yes, I'm interested in a strategy session. And actually, it's very small on a mobile. So people kind of give up. So you get a really good click-through, but very little people actually signing up, either for a webinar or for whatever it is you're offering. So it works actually better on your desktop feed only. Let's just go into Facebook and have a look at this. 1 second, let me try and get up here. Okay, so this is my Facebook desktop. I'm sharing it with you, aren't you lucky? So on this side, this is your right-hand side of your newsfeed. This is where one of the options is. And actually, I haven't got any here, and I don't know why not, but they would usually be here. You'll see sponsored ads coming up here. They're much smaller. You can't get as much text on there at all, but it's where most people end up starting up with Facebook because they don't know how to necessarily do a Facebook feed. This area here, this is where you'll get a Facebook feed. So let me see if I can actually find any ads in here. There's your ad, your feed there, Louise. Bear with me. I've usually got loads in here. Okay, here's one. So this is basically a news feed, and it will be news feed only because there's a click through and they're going to be asking questions next. So this is specifically coming up in my news feed as a sponsored ad, and this is exactly what yours would look like when it came up. So that's the person that's sending it, or the company that's sending it. You know it's an ad because it says it's sponsored. The bit that we've got here is the initial part that you'll be looking at. And actually, we want to use this as much as possible. And I'm going to show you what to put in there later. Here's the actual image, and the image is really, really important. And we'll cover that shortly. Then we've got the fact that it's a free book and what the book is, and the fact I've got a download button there, so I could actually go and download that now. That will go straight to an opt-in page. I'll bet my bottom dollar on it, where I'll put my email address in, and I'll get well through workshops from Callan Rush. Why has it come through to me? Well, do you know what? that's the magic of Facebook. Surprisingly enough, I do lead live workshops, seminars and retreats. It's come through to me because I've probably clicked on something like that before, and it knows that I would be interested in that type of thing. So it is absolutely targeted to me. And if you weren't here, the likelihood is I'd probably click on that and look at what Callum's got to say, because she's great. Let's have a look and see if there's any more. Oh, okay, here's another one as well. So internet marketing, surprisingly enough, that's coming up in my news feed. It's a sponsored ad, and then some text about what it is, a lovely image there, which is a lifestyle type image, really, really looking at and targeting me in particular. You know, would I want to be working that type of business in that type of area? Yes, of course I would. And then we've got what it's all about, and then a click here button. So what I haven't mentioned actually is the social side of it here, which is really, really important. And that's why Facebook's so good. We've got, I mean, if you do it to your warm audience, they're much more likely to click likes, to click shares, and just so you're getting real social proof there. Do you remember that was one of Cialdini's persuasion techniques? You're getting real social proof. So when you do put your ads out, really encourage your warm list, your friends and family initially to big that up and start writing some nice comments on there. You will get trolled every now and then, but don't panic about it. So that is, oh, there we go. We've got a sponsored ad in my right-hand ad here, which is automating my sales and marketing. Amazing, isn't it, that these things are really targeting me and what I would like. And that's because Facebook has got so much intelligence here, that the stuff that's coming up for me here is really important to me. And actually, I would click on the majority of these things that are coming up. Okay, let's just go back to the presentation. If you have any questions on that, please do type them in, and I'll endeavour to answer them. But I think we've got a fair amount of information there already. Okay, so pricing. You need to understand how Facebook makes money from advertising. You're bidding on CPC, which is costs per click. So every time somebody clicks on it, you get billed for it. I would suggest that you bid the maximum amount to get your ad seen. As I said, you need to pay the most you would be most comfortable paying to find out if your targeting is right or if it's wrong. You'll know if it's wrong if you're not getting any clicks, or you're getting clicks and you're not getting any opt-ins. And you can stop it literally as quick as you like. So I suggest that when you do set your adverts to go, which you'll be doing hopefully in the next couple of weeks, you really keep a close eye on it initially to make sure that your money is being spent effectively. Even if it's been spent effectively in the wrong way, at least it's a very good way of finding out that something isn't working. So you need to think about how much you're comfortable paying to find out that your targeting is actually wrong. It might be £100, it might be £50. I would suggest budgeting about £50 per ad per day. It's unlikely that you'll spend that £50 per day, especially if you keep an eye on it. But think about how much it would be worth buying that candidate for. The key metric here that you're going to be looking for is how many strategy sessions is your ad producing. So if it produces maybe 3 strategy sessions, you spent £100 on it, and you've got 1 NPC that you're going to end up placing, is that going to be worth the return on investment for me? And for me, that's an absolute no-brainer. Okay, let's have a look at the creative side of it. So we've got 3 different things that we're looking at on your creative side. And interestingly enough, poor creative that makes the right offer to the right audience will always outperform amazing creative that's making the wrong offer to the wrong audience. So we're in a great position because we've already got offers out there. We've got our ethical bribe. We know that we want what we want to get out there. So we're in a really good place with that right now. Getting the